Okay, we're recording. But it's interesting when I listen to the compound effect now, and I was actually finding content for us to listen to this week, and I'm going to introduce a new guy to us. Well, if your coaches and you were on the coach call a while ago, you listened to Gary Vee. He's a very ball buster, straightforward kind of guy. So we're going to listen to him today. But I was trying to find the right video for Warrior Hour from him, because he can be kind of aggressive and it can be a little scary at first. So I was like, I need like a lower level Gary Vee of just like an introduction video of Gary Vee. And then we'll maybe work into some of his more like harsh stuff. So I was kind of looking around, and I was watching this one video, which I didn't think was right for today, but I still found it very interesting. And he was talking about, people were like, well, what are you doing now that's making your business so amazing? He goes, the same stuff I was doing in the beginning. He goes, I'm doing the same stuff. It may look bigger to you because I have multiple people doing this stuff now for me. He goes, but I'm still pumping content on social media. I'm still doing videos. I'm still doing YouTube videos. He goes, that's exactly what I was doing in the beginning. I'm just doing it still, right? And I think that's what people kind of misconcept, if that's the right word, or, kind of misunderstand a lot of times, is the compound effect is doing the same thing over and over and over again every single day and getting the same results, but they begin to compound. And so like for me, I'm doing the same thing I was doing 5 years ago, hitting play on my workout, drinking my shake, doing my personal development. Now I'm still hitting my workout, doing my shake, doing my personal development. It's just that I have multiple of you guys doing it as well. So it seems like we're doing so much more, when in reality, I'm not doing anything more than I was 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, I might be hosting more meetings that has more girls on it, but I was hosting meetings back then. And actually, this is funny. I'm kind of like spiraling off this story, but I got your timeline in review, and it was like 2 years ago. It was a 2 year ago one, and it was my team call. And it was a screenshot of my mom and Ashley and I. And that's it. Just the three of us on a team call. And I just kind of had to giggle at it, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's so funny to think of, as I was hosting team calls at 8:00 on Thursday, and 2 people showed up, and one of them was my mom. And she just probably felt bad, but I'm still hosting team calls Thursday at 8:00. Nothing's changed about that. I just have more girls now. And now actually Tennille and Alicia take a week each. So I'm actually doing less team calls, but being more effective with those team calls and affecting more people, which is then compounding into bigger and more effectiveness. But I personally, I'm really not doing much more than I was in the beginning, which is pretty cool if I really think about it and I take a step back to like recognize that sometimes. And so what you're doing now, just know, if you're putting the work in now, if you continue putting that work in year after year, it's going to eventually compound. It's going to eventually grow. Okay, so just know that like, and it was kind of cool to hear that from Gary Vee, watching this like random video that he was talking to these ladies about. He goes, I'm not doing any more than I was then. I'm doing the same thing. And that's the great thing too, is like, you can realize that, oh, if I just keep hounding at this, eventually people are going to catch on, right? Even when I first started, I remember telling Mike this. I was watching Amy Silverman, and I was watching her do her videos. I was watching her do her content, and I was like, I'm doing everything she's doing. I remember even telling Mike, and he like looked at me like I was crazy. I go, I'm doing everything she's doing. And he's like, well, are you? I go, yes, I am. I was like, I'm doing everything she's doing. She's just 5 years ahead of me. That was it. I was like, she's just 5 years ahead of me. And I just like remember saying that. And I remember Mike kind of looking at me like I was a little crazy because he was looking at her success versus my, $30 checks I was getting at the time as like, okay. But in my mind, I was like, I'm doing the same thing she's doing. She's just 5 years ahead of me. That's it. And so I just knew that if I just kept going and kept compounding and kept sticking to it and staying with it and doing the same thing over and over, people were going to catch on. I was going to find my people. And then when you hear like people like Gary Vee who are like, I've been doing the same thing. I'm not doing anything different. And then he flips to this clip, and you'll kind of see it actually in this one, of where, if you don't know where Gary Vee came from, he like originally was like a wine connoisseur, basically, where his family used to own a liquor store. And he used to review wine. So he would drink wine and he would do these like little YouTube clips where he would just be like, this wine tastes like blah, 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 blah. And people started to like watch him. But you guys, you'll see, he has over 1,000 videos. Like, could you imagine 1,000 warrior hours later? Like, and then eventually somebody takes notice, but not until we're at like 995, like we're at 68, I think. Like we're at I think this is 70 actually. I think I just uploaded one last night. It was like 69. And so we're at like, 70 warrior hours. Now times that by 10, maybe somebody will take notice. But you guys, that's years. That's literally going to take us a couple years. And maybe somebody will finally take notice. Maybe somebody will finally find that video that shares it and makes it go viral. And then all of a sudden they'll look back and be like, oh my God, they've been doing this since 2020 quarantine. It's 2025. Like who the hell knows? But if we just keep going, eventually it catches on. Right? Eventually, like we're not doing anything different than we were on day one. Maybe I'm a little more organized with how I do it. We have like kind of a process to it now than when I first was like, hey guys, let's just wing it, I feel like that's kind of how we started. Now I have a little bit more of like a flow to how I do things, but we're still doing the same thing. All right? It's just about the consistency. That's what it's about. It's about being consistent, right? Eventually, if you continue doing the workouts and you continue eating the nutrition, the weight will fall off. The body will change, right? Like it's only a matter of time before your body gets there. But you have to be consistent and you have to keep going. And you have to just keep going and keep going and keep going, even when you feel like nobody's freaking paying attention. And trust me, I've had plenty of times where I'm like, hello, is anybody freaking out there? And then all of a sudden somebody will message me and I'll be like, oh, hey, there she is, there she is. Like you just never know when it's going to be that time you post or that time you post that video or whatever it is, that it just sparks the person in the right way. So keep doing what you're doing. Okay. That's my first little go around for today, is be consistent and be willing to put in the time and effort it takes to gain that momentum. Okay. Because it takes a while. It really does. I had people sign up with me in the first year, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I also lost a lot of people throughout the process because I had no idea what I was doing. Right? Or I would be like, hey, sure, let's meet. And then I would like totally forget about meetings. I had to become more consistent in myself. I had to take myself a little bit more seriously as a coach. And as I began doing that, I began more consistency and people started to join me even more. Okay. So stick with it. Okay. I promise, like, you guys, even just like when you look back on like Bethany and Carly, look at the two of them when they joined. And look at them now, posting about how strong they are and how ready they are to take on the kids. I don't know if you guys were on that first call when Brittany jumped on. She was bawling that first day she jumped on our Warrior Hour because she was so mind blown by the information that came to her in that first day. It changed her whole perspective on life. So maybe it's time to bring some new girls in, to start inviting some new challengers in here. Because I will also tell you, every single person that came on here as a challenger is now a coach, right? Like we flipped their perspective so much faster just being able to talk to them every day, just being able to have them like face to face, you know? So I don't know. We can kind of play around with it. I know I kind of was saying in the beginning, like maybe we should do some warrior or some power hour, warrior hour kind of thing, and maybe do some like working, but I still want to keep the motivation here because I think something about that in general is working, right? The personal development that's happening here, I don't want to get rid of, even for myself, because it guarantees time that I work on my mental state at least several times a week. Right. And it's very important for myself. So I know it's important for you guys. But maybe it's time to put some fresh faces in here too. Okay. So maybe think about that when you've got your challengers, or that's one thing I'm going to talk about even in the Coach Basics group, right? Like I'm going to put in there, say, hey, this is what we do on Warrior Hour. This is an example of our Warrior Hour. This is when we have team calls on Thursday. So I'm really getting all of that content around, and I'm going to really start kind of pushing for some of our other coaches to jump on here. But don't forget that it's also open to your challengers as well. So if you have a new challenger, say, hey, here's the workouts, here's your package is on the way. And while you're waiting, why don't you jump on our call at 8 a.m. if you can, or if you can't, here's the recording to all of our Warrior Hours if you want to start listening to those as well. Okay, so it's something that you can also share with your challengers to help them really start getting that perspective. Maybe send them day one, right? Maybe send them Warrior Hour 1. Maybe that's where they need to start. Or maybe you can jump them in right where we're at and you can start sharing the ones that we do this week. Totally up to you. You know your challenger, right? You know where they're at. And most of the Warrior Hours are labeled as well. So like, maybe if like you're like, oh, I know that they would love Les Brown, or I know that they would love the 5-second rule, go through the Warrior Hour and find the Mel Robbins 5-second rule and send it over to her or something like that. Use those recordings, might as well, right? They're personal development. So you're not only sending the video, but you're sending the breakdown of the video. That's what I love about our Warrior Hour recording is like, yeah, I could send the 20-minute 5-second rule video to somebody. Or I could send them the video of us listening to it and then talking about it afterwards, which I think is so much more powerful than just sending them the video and being like, good luck, listen to it, right? But if they can listen to afterwards of like, oh, wow, this is our perspective of the 5-second rule. This is how we're going to use it. This is what we're doing with it. Then I think that they can maybe get more of a sense of who we are too. Alrighty. Okay, so I have some Gary Vee for us, so let's listen to that. I really love, I know that I've done a couple of these. What's his, oh, let me click over here real quick. Oh, what's this guy's called? Impact Theory. That's it. The Impact Theory guy, we've listened to a couple of his interviews. I think when we listened to the Hal Elrod, Miracle Mornings guy, he was being interviewed by another guy. If you guys remember that. And I think we've listened to a couple of them where he's interviewing people. I love his YouTube. If you guys are not on his YouTube, like subscribe to Impact Theory. I can't ever remember his name. I can only remember his little like title. You'll see him on here, and so you guys can look him up. Definitely subscribe to his YouTube because he interviews some amazing people, and the interviews are always like so good, so good. So let me pop over here and we'll listen to this. Yeah, Kristen, I just read over here, dude. Kristen, those kids are so lucky to have those girls as their teacher right now. Like they are so mentally strong right now. Like I felt so good about sending them to school to their kids, right? Like I was just like I felt like we could just kind of like sit our shoulders back and hold our heads high, knowing that those girls are out there teaching kids right now. Like, because who knows what their parents, the kids' parents have been, right, for the last several months. Like their kids' parents have probably been out there just spiraling out of control. And those kids are just feeding off of that energy. And so hopefully maybe when they come into our girls' classrooms, they can get the love and care and strength that they deserve. right? Like how cool is that? So I'm very proud to send our warrior women back to their jobs. And I think that they were like super sad. And I was like, oh my God, don't be sad. Like you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. You are taking the strength that you have, and now you get a chance to feed into these girls or these kids, and it's so empowering, right? Like you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now. Like don't feel bad for missing warrior hour. Like we're proud to send you back to school. All right, so let's listen to this Gary Vee here. Okay, here we go.
I think so many people are keyboard activists, right? Everybody's good at sending a tweet about how the world should be, and nobody's doing anything about it. And that is just very much human nature.
We've gotten soft as a culture.
Yes. You know, I mean, of course we've gotten soft as a culture in the US because the US has had an incredible 200-year run, right? Like this is just what happens. You know, so as a culture, you know, I can't speak for, you know, the people that live in the Amazon River, and I can't speak for, you know, people that still live in Belarus, but the American culture is soft, and that's a great thing. That means there's been enormous amounts of prosperity, but let's not be naive. I mean, people literally complain when somebody gives them the wrong amount of like extra cream in a Starbucks $6 coffee. My lack of interest in complaining is so high, and when I watch what people complain about, it breaks my heart because they completely lack perspective. And I genuinely believe my happiness and optimism comes from my perspective. Even in political unrest times like right now, a lot of people are very bent out of shape, but the reality is that it's just never been better to be a human being. That's just the truth. That's just data. That's reality. And yeah, I mean, it's just a very fun time to be alive. And I think the way people look at the world right now, because it's such an incredible time, is actually the quickest tell to who they are. If you think it sucks when it's bad, you have losing pessimistic DNA. And if you think it's awesome and phenomenal, you have optimistic winning DNA. And I believe that to be true. And so that's where we're at. We're beating ourselves up. Like everybody sucks at something, right? Like we all have shortcomings and we all have strengths. And for me, it's like, why don't we just audit that? Like, why don't we just look at it that way and be like, all right, well, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that. Like, and then I only focus what I'm good at, right? Like, I don't dwell that I can't fix shit around the house. I call somebody to fix it. Like, I'm not like, I'm not a man. I don't give a fuck. Like, you know, I don't get it. Like, we all, like, I also think it's awesome that I'm so emotionally stable and I'm the emotional backbone of everybody. Is that what a dude's supposed to do? Like these cliches, these stereotypes, they're so silly. I'm fully in love with myself, but I'm also fully in love with everybody else too, right? It's not like it goes both ways. Like I tell people to buy into me that work for me, it's because I buy into them first. Like I don't need anybody to gain trust with me. It's there. Like I believe that the human race is so grossly underrated. We are good. Of course we have some bad. There's fucking 7 billion of us. But like when you look at our net score, it's bonkers shit. Like, do you know how much damage we could be doing to each other on an hourly basis and we don't? Like we're still here. Like we won. We're the alpha being and we've figured out how to stay together. This is insane when you think about it. And yet everybody wants to dwell on like somebody said something mean. If you want to be an anomaly, you have to act like one. Like people want all these special things to happen, but then they're acting like everybody else. And that gets into the Saturdays in your 20s, like, or just like taking risks or things of that nature. Like, if there's anything they take away, it's like, look, like you're gonna only be so pretty, you're only gonna be so smart. Like there's things that are gonna be natural, and then there's things that you can actually control. I do believe, and I don't know if I'm right or wrong, I don't, but I do believe that work ethic is a taught behavior. It's something you do have more control over. And you know what really sealed the deal for me? Getting healthier. I was 38 years old and it didn't come natural to me. Like, it didn't come natural to me at all. I hate the gym. I hate it now. I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want to do it. But I knew it was important. And somewhere around midway through being 38 years old, I got serious. I figured out my system. I made the financial commitment, and I've won, right? And I'll never lose again, because the system was I needed to be accountable to another human being. So it was about Mike and now Jordan and whoever else is my trainer. I'm doing it almost weirdly more to not let them down. I feel like there's a shift that can make people work harder. The big one that I push is you're gonna die. Like if you're to me, life is broken down into complaining and not. So if you're not complaining, well then I have no advice for you. I'm pumped. Like, you did it. Like I have friends who make $42,000 a year, work 9 to 4, kind of, with an hour and a half lunch and 45 minutes of YouTube and 10 minutes of bullshitting and an hour of complete waste of time in a meeting. So they're kind of working like 6, hours a week, right? But they're pumped. And they text me, these are high school friends, and they'll text me like how happy they are to be the coach of their kids' baseball team. And that's amazing. Like that seems very obvious to me. That's right. You know what's super weird? I'm actually weirdly envious. It sounds cool, like in theory, right? Grass is always greener, right? Like far less pressure, like all that time with my kids, oof, that would be cool. Like there's just like all these things that I can justify. So to me, but I have friends who have $100 million in the bank because of Facebook's IPO, who complain, who are still hungry, who want to do even more, who will complain to me because they know I work a lot about no work-life balance and they don't get to spend enough time with their family. And I'm like, you have $100 million. Like, you could stay home. Like, you're in control. Like, don't complain about it. You've made that choice. Don't bullshit me. Like, you want to spend more time with your family? Spend more time with your family. I'm trying to be very careful about what I'm saying versus what I'm doing, because that's how you get exposed. And I don't mean like people calling you out and being like, you suck. I mean to yourself. I don't want to be exposed by myself. It's looking yourself in the mirror and saying like, am I doing this right? So to me, there's so many people that are talking shit about how big of an entrepreneur they're gonna be and how much they're gonna achieve, and they don't work on weekends. I worked every Saturday of my 20s. And I talk to 20-year-old entrepreneurs every single day. Lately, I've been saying to them, this Saturday, you're gonna have more time off than I've had in my entire 20s on a Saturday. So before you tell me how you're gonna be bigger than me, start thinking about what you're actually doing. I'm careful to not give advice that I know is uniquely something that I was gifted with. How do I tell you that, oh, here's how it actually works, and it almost started happening, it didn't happen. I actually get goosebumps, real heavy goosebumps when I hear something that I know feels right.
I'm gonna tell you something. Every person in their life has had $1 million idea.
What's the advice there? Hey, Johnny, start getting goosebumps. There's certain things that I can't talk about because I know they're not practical. They're intuitive to me. I plan to instill kindness into my kids. I plan on instilling perspective into my kids. I plan in instilling just being a good human being. I plan on making sure they don't use their parents' wealth and micro fame and leverage to impose on any other person. I'm petrified of that. If my kids try to punk their friends on my shit, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of them. That's just loser DNA. You didn't do that. Right? I'm not obsessed with tactics. I'm obsessed with religion. So I have a lot of wealthy friends at this point who think it's smart for them to sit first class, but the kids in coach. It's a tactic. They send their kids to Africa to build a school for a week. It's a tactic. It's like my friends that love the environment. The number 2 sector in the world that is hurting the environment is the fashion industry. When you run the math of what's doing bad to the earth, it's the number 2 industry behind gas. I don't even want to say it because I'm not sure if it's gas and oil. The number 2 industry, this I know for a fact, is the fashion industry. So all my fancy friends who love the environment, are they willing to give up their fucking Louis bags? Let's see, right? So like, I think people talk shit. So you let them sit coach and you went first class, but you went to, you know, Hawaii and ate at all the best like, you can't pick and choose. To me, it's binary. So I don't want to be a hypocrite. So my big thing is like, look, you need to be kind. Like, mean is just non-negotiable in our family, right? And then you just need to not be full of shit. If you want to look at daddy's mountain and you want to say what I did to my dad's, and that was a big mountain for an immigrant, like, wow, dad did it, right? If you want to say, I'm going to climb that and I'm going to climb bigger, awesome. Like, I'm pumped. I'm weirdly not cheering for you because I'm just a weirdly competitive dude. This is actually something I'm not proud of. I'm comfortable saying this, and I believe this is a flaw, but I don't want my kids to beat me. I don't. Like, I hate saying it. I know this is where I get in trouble. People will take one little clip from one video interview and they're like, you're bad. It's just my truth. I don't want to bullshit you guys. Like, I'm that competitive. I just want them to be all in on them, right? Like, I don't need them to be an entrepreneur. I don't need them to make me proud. They don't need to go to Harvard. They don't need to do shit. They need to be themselves, all in, and they need to be kind, and I'm good. Like, everybody thinks their stuff is so good. Like, every day, Gary, my Instagram's so on fire, it's so awesome. Why is nobody, like, why am I not gaining followers? Because it's not awesome. We all think our stuff is the best, and like, I get that. But yeah, that would be my advice, only because that also is liberating. To me, everything's about breathing, right? Like, to me, everything is about, like, take full ownership for everything, and then everything gets easy, because then you're in control. And then learn how to love to lose. I think that's how entrepreneurship, that's how life is. We all have losses. And so I like losses. I love adversity. I like the climb. I like the chip on my shoulder. I like when people are like, oh, I knew it, he's not that good. That is like I'm even weirdly scared as I continue to ascend and I'm getting popular, and what do you say, the marketing leading, like, if people start putting these words in front of my name, I'm like, am I gonna sabotage myself to like recorrect this? Like, I like adversity. So yeah, all on me. You know, I enjoy losses. Now all of a sudden, like, what? You become completely invincible. I feel invincible. I really genuinely, outside of the health of myself and 20 people, feel 100% invincible as a person. I know what my intent is. I want to do good at nobody else's expense. I'm far from perfect. We all are. And so just easy. It feels very light to live life. I'm just in a good mood. Them home, and I think modern day parents and most parents do not do that. I think they focus on dumb shit like grades because they are insecure and they want to put the bumper sticker that their kid went to, you know, Stanford. Like, it's real fucked up when you really think about what's actually happening. So much of it is misery loves company, or people reflecting of what's inside of them.
Hi, I'm Brad Callen, and in this video, I'm going to show you how anyone can quickly and easily create doodle videos, just like
Is the impact that you want to have on the world.
Same thing that attracts so many of millions of people to people that are selling bullshit, those same people are attracted to me. And what I want to do is suffocate out all those other people and become the alpha of that entire world of people that are hoping and are desperate to look at me. And what I want to do is inspire 2 14-year-old girls in Kansas City right now to build $1 billion company on having a bunch of employees hugging each other in the halls. I think that Steve Jobs came along, became an icon, But the sad part of that narrative was he did not treat his employees well. He became an icon, and the narrative became he got the most out of people by being a jerk, and that became romanticized. And a lot of people in Silicon Valley today run companies where they're mean because they think that's the right thing to do because they put Steve Jobs on a pedestal. I want my pedestal moment. I want to become that big, and what I want to come from that is that kids that aren't even born today think that they can build a $5 billion company and be a great guy or a great gal. I want to build the biggest building in town ever by just building the biggest building in town, while I think most people try to tear down everybody else's building. So I think positivity and good is practical advice to building an empire, and I want to be the poster child of the person that built the biggest, baddest empire and did it by being a good dude along the way. And not everybody's gonna be happy about everything I did, but if it's 97% of people talking good behind your back, that's a real legacy. And I wanna do it in a pop culture way. I'm gonna do it anyway. People have done that before. Just so you know, there's plenty of people. Warren Buffett's a really good dude. Like, there's plenty of people that have done that. There's a difference. I wanna do it, and I wanna be a rock star, right? Like, and that's where you influence people. Like, you know, like, I wanna do it, but I also want to be the most popular. And so then that person's like, oh, I want to be him, so I guess I'll be nice. Like, I want to literally take people who have DNA that's kind of nice and make them more nice because they think that's how I became big. So I basically want to trick the business world into becoming kinder.
All right, so this is probably the nicest Gary Vee video you will ever watch in your life. Hey, bud. Because so I love his perspective on it, because if you've ever seen anything else of his, he's a straightforward guy. Like, he is not going to sugarcoat a second of his talk, right? Like, he is very honest, but not honest to hurt you, right? Honest to empower you.
Who's doing?
What? Oh, I don't know. Well, yeah. But he's honest to expose you to yourself, right? Like, you need to know this so you can then get over it and fix it and become a better person, right? Like, I love that idea of, like, this might sting a little bit, but you need to hear it so you can move on, right? Like he said, with your Instagram, oh, I have great Instagram, but I have no followers. Well, and your Instagram isn't that great. Like, you would have followers coming to you if your Instagram was that great. Period. Even if you think it's great, it could be better, because then it would be attracting people, right? So it's like, he exposes you to the reality, which is hard sometimes. It's hard to accept that maybe you're doing something wrong, or maybe you could be better, right? That's hard to accept sometimes. I know in the beginning of my coaching business, I used to be like, I'm posting great stuff and it gets like 5 likes. And I had to realize maybe it wasn't great stuff, right? Maybe it wasn't. I thought it was, but when I really stepped back and said, well, if it was, it's okay, Mom. And if it was really great stuff, then people would be attracted to it, and it would be catching their attention, and they would be sharing it, and they would be commenting, right? And so it's interesting when you just take a step back and say, well, maybe my content isn't that great. Okay, so maybe that's the truth. What else can I do? Right? When you just accept it, possibly, or be like, okay, I don't believe him. My Instagram is great, but maybe I need to just take a step back and look at it. What else can I do? Right? I actually, you guys, since we listened to that girl at Summit, the blonde girl, I can't remember her name. I can't remember her name. But she was the storyteller. She was like the person that was talking about the storytelling. And I have started every single time before I post, I go, is there a story to this post? Is there some sort of background layout story to this post? And my content, my likes, my loves, my comments, my shares have gone up probably 3 times as much. 3 times as much. I swear to you guys. Ever since I started to refine my actual words and what I'm talking about and give it context and a story and meaning behind it, it has totally changed how much interaction I've gotten. The video I posted yesterday, where I was like, I could have easily been like, woohoo, got my little award. You know, I could have easily done that. But instead, I posted the video where Mike's farting in the background, right? Because that's the truth. That's the story. That's what actually happened. And you guys know how many people commented, liked it, loved it, viewed it? 3 times as many people. 3 times the people that would have probably viewed it had I posted it of just a picture by my face or me holding it. Woo, look at my accomplishment. Nobody would have wanted to hear that. But the video attracted people and they laughed. And then they went, oh yeah, and congratulations. Thank you. Right? The video wasn't about the award. The video was about the humor behind it, but the award is in it. Right? So they laughed first. Then they were like, oh yeah, congratulations. So I had to, even 5 years into this, changing the way I'm producing content. Because I had to look at it and say, am I telling stories? Am I really taking that extra time to make this better content? Not just a sweaty selfie, a selfie about how I and then a text, maybe the sweaty selfie, but the text is about how I died during it, right? Or when I posted the Barb Blend video, 2 weeks ago, I posted it on a Friday, which I don't know about you guys, I never get interaction on a Friday. I don't know what it is about Fridays that like nobody ever paid attention to my stuff. You want to know why I thought that? Because I was probably producing crappy content on Friday. Because I thought that. I thought, well, no one's going to look at this anyway, so I'll just post this because it's Friday. But 2 weeks ago, I posted the Barb Blend workout that I did because we hadn't started MBF yet, and Elika was like, hey, you should try Barb Blend. And so I posted the video of my Barb Blend, and literally my first line is, my ass was humbled today. And then I kind of talked about how I did the Barb Blend workout for the first time ever and really actually did it. I had like 80 some likes or comments on a video on Friday. It blew me away because I was like, it's Friday. Nobody likes my stuff on Friday. It's not about Friday. It's about what I was producing or my thoughts about what Friday was. So when you actually just take a step back and say, okay, maybe I could be better. Maybe I could do this differently. Maybe I could, try something else. And creating a story behind it. And the moment I actually started doing that and saying, oh, I could have said, oh, I've been doing this for 4 years. Of course my content's great. Look at my team. Da, 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 da. But I want to go to that next level. Right? Like, I want to be a 3 and 4 and 5-star diamond. So time to rise, time to do more, time to be better, time to refine again. After I thought I had it going on, I still have to take a second back and go, but I think I could be better. I think I could do this better. But had I not been on that summit call and heard the speech and the story about her stories, I would have never done that. I would have been continuing to post exactly how I was and maybe got like 10 likes on a video, not 80. But I created a story behind it. I refined what I was doing. And I think that's really what he's talking about is people are so stuck. Yesterday, I was cooking and Derek goes, we were going to have some people actually has some people coming today to go wakeboarding with him. They were going to come last night and stay here. And then they ended up, they're like, we'll just come in the morning, no big deal. And so Derek was like, I thought guys were coming today. And I was like, Bob, you know what? Things change. Life is always changing. I said, life is always changing. And like, for him to understand that as a going on 6-year-old is so much bigger than anything I understood as a 6-year-old. I didn't understand that like life changed or like what was somebody said like may have ended up being different. But I want him to understand it's evolving, changing, always. Adjust, pivot, keep going. Right? I don't want him to think, life is just always exactly how you planned it. And it all just falls just right into place of what you thought. Actually, it's usually the exact opposite. Whatever you think is going to happen, it's most likely going to be the opposite. Even if you plan it to a freaking T, most likely you're going to have some plot twists. You're going to have some things that are going to make you go the other way. Or there's a moment where you have to refine it, right? Maybe the schedule's working, but maybe you need to change up. Maybe you need to switch it up. Try something different. It may work and it may not, but you're going to learn, right? There's also times where I've posted a story, nobody even read it. Because what they said at the bottom in the comments, I'm like, you didn't even read the story, did you? And I'm like, okay, maybe that story was too long. Maybe that story didn't quite register with them. Maybe I'll try that story again in another way later on. Who knows? You got to keep trying. And that's with life too, you guys. Or just like even going back to that bar. I had tried the bar blend once. But I was sitting in our RV. I didn't have room to hold a chair and lean way over and kick my leg out backwards. So I got frustrated. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I don't even like it. And then here I am, like almost a year later, trying it and being like, holy crap, I actually really liked that. So it's interesting when you kind of put it into that perspective. And it may not work then, but it could be different and it could work now. Try again. Keep going. I don't know what Becky's got going on, but I want to do whatever she's doing. I just thought you like art and stuff.
I'm getting them pumped up for school. Look at them. They're like, we're doing school today. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be so fun. They're like,
Oh, I'm burning so bad right
Why are you over here?
now. I don't know. I was gonna see if you have any of those lights.
What?
I fucking put.
Go wash your face.
It's on.
Okay, well.
It's on okay,
I'm sorry. Go take a shower. I don't know what takes biofreeze off of your skin. I think Micah put a little too much biofreeze on and he got it in his eyes.
I went to go to the bathroom and change my shorts and it on my knee and then it went up and I was like, oh, let's do that. And then I wiped my face.
It's all up in there. All up in there. I can hear you like making noises in the back and I was just like trying to ignore you. Oh man. All right. Well, I'll help you here in a couple minutes if I can. I don't know.
No.
Oh, I think a hot towel.
Are those yellow wipes that you use?
Yeah. Use that bar soap, but wash your hands. I've done that before as a massage therapist. Like I'll like put Biofreeze on somebody and like walk out and then like give myself one of those, like a little like this, or like peppermint oil be on my hands, and I'll like touch my eyes, and all of a sudden my eyes will just start like freaking crying. Or like sometimes I've done it like mid massage, so I got to keep going, and like I'll be like crying and massaging at the same time. So I'm like, well, I can't stop now. That's terrible. Oh goodness. Oh goodness, Carrie. I'm glad you jumped on too. You know what? And sometimes we just got to try different things. I think sometimes we get kind of caught up in that routine. And sometimes I just have to take a step back and be like, okay, I'm not going to post today until I have something important to say. Or until I can actually think that I have something productive to give to people, right? I don't just post to post anymore. I used to be like, here's my shake. Look, here's Derek running around the house. I mean, maybe in my stories I will, like my stories is more kind of like behind the scenes stuff. But when it comes to my feed, I post when I have something to say, something important, something productive, something funny, something that I think can actually add value to other people. That's when I post. And so maybe you need to just kind of double check and say, okay, can I refine all this, right? I'm pumping out stuff, and maybe can I refine it? And instead of posting, 5 selfies of myself, I pick the best one, I give it a good filter, and I take a little bit more time to get the right photo, the right lighting, the right outfit, and then I post it. I just put a little bit more time and effort into it. Right? And so I'm not doing anything different than the beginning. I'm just becoming more refined. Right? And I'm really saying, okay, is this what I want to put out? Is this the picture I want to put out? Does this text match the picture? Is there a story to it? Is there a purpose to it? And it doesn't have to be some like profound purpose, right? You don't have to be like always creating some like amazing motivational content. It doesn't have to always be that, right? Like yesterday for me, it was just humor. I just thought that was like hilarious, right? And so you still have to be providing something for somebody. For me, yesterday, humor, which it worked. And I always love that I love that Gary Vee is all about being kind and positivity, regardless of how hard he is. I feel like that's like a Virgo. I don't know. I wonder if he's a Virgo. I wonder. But like Virgos, if you ever read like content on Virgos, we are very tough on people. And if we're not tough on you, you actually should be more scared. Like the people we're tough on is because we love them and we see so much potential in them. And it's like a Virgo nature to be like a tough love kind of person. We're also a little bit more shy in the beginning until you kind of crack us open, and then we're like wild cases. But Virgos are very tough on people. Like we will not let you slack. But it's because of what we see. Like Virgos can see people at their best, which is very cool. Like I see people, even if they're, really hard on themselves or really down in the dirt, like even when I met Mike, I knew who Mike could be. We just had to get rid of all that bullshit he was holding on to. We just had to break down all that other crap that was hanging around him.
Big ass wall.
But like when I first met Mike, I was like, oh, he's so smart. He's such a freaking hard worker. I like saw so much potential in Mike. I just knew that we just had to like get through all that bullshit. He could just focus and refine who he was. I was not nice about it. I was very tough on Mike a lot of times, probably harder than I ever needed to be. But it's because I was like, oh, Mike, there's so much potential in you. You just got to get rid of this shit you're holding on to so you can refine and become the person you're supposed to. I remember even this guy that he worked with last summer around this time, and they were kind of bullshitting around, right? Like they were not really working as hard as like, I was like, what are you guys doing? And I remember having the conversation with the guy, his name was Steve. And I said, Steve, listen, I don't want you to distract Mike. You're distracting him right now. I was like, cause he's got a lot of shit to do in his life. and you guys are just bullshitting around. I was like, you're a distraction to him. And I remember Steve just like looking at me. He's probably like 15 years older than us, and he's just like looking at me, and I'm like, what? Like, I am not going to sugarcoat this for you, because I feel like you're leaning him down a path that was what we were trying to work from, right? And I was not nice about it. But thankfully, that guy's no longer in our lives, and now Mike is back and focusing on what he's supposed to be doing. Right?
And truth be told, she was right. He's actually.
Did you guys hear that? This is recording, right?
Oh,
Woo!
man.
You're a Virgo. I expect you to be right.
Yes.
Yeah, but see, the difference between me and most men is that I can admit when my wife is right, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, put your ego to the side. You guys hear me saying that all the time, because it's the only thing that holds you back, because it's you. It's your ego, and you take the R off that son of a gun, and it's you that is holding you back. Sometimes she doesn't like it when I admit when she's right, because she's like, wait, you're supposed to sit and let that.
I'm not done. I'm not done.
But Virgos are hard. Virgos are tough.
Yeah, we are. It's not
But
easy being a Virgo, to be
if
honest.
Jenny wasn't so tough, we wouldn't still be together. My past relationships, even though they were actually oddly all Virgos, I've never dated anything but a Virgo. But a real Virgo with strength is what someone needs, like me. Like the reason why I need the work. I can't do T20, okay? He bounces around too much. He doesn't yell at me. He doesn't tell me things. He doesn't take control. I'm a leader. I'm an insane, savage leader. But every now and then, I need a drill instructor to say, shut the hell up, get to work. Like yesterday, I texted Jenny. I was like, I am so nervous right now. I want to hit the A-frame, and I'll show you the message. She goes, fucking hit it. Stop being a pussy. And I was like, oh shit. I went right out there and I hit it. I was so scared because.
You even said, you were like, I'm so scared. I'm like, so hit it scared.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
Now, if she wasn't that way, my past relationships, I ran all over them. It couldn't control me. The reason why we weren't happy is because they didn't have a backbone. Jenny does. So she puts me in place. At the same time, I do the same to her. There's times where she doesn't like it, and I'll be like, fucking, or effing deal with it. Like, this is what it is. This is what it's going to be. Here's the reality. The other day, I'll tell you straight up, man, Jenny was giving me a massage, and I was hurting. My knee was hurting, and I was like, hey, don't give those to her, Kristen. Bring those to me. She will kill those.
I'm not going to kill him. We're not moving. I
If
only kill
anybody doesn't
plants
know-
when we move.
No, she only kills plants to kind of remind me of what she's capable of. But she was giving me a massage, and as you all know, Karen has been sucking the life out of just about everybody in town. She was massaging me, and I said, if you don't shut up about her,
I started talking
I
about
go,
it.
you're literally sucking my energy. You're touching me, and you're sucking my energy out. And she didn't like it. She just went, and probably didn't want to finish. But it was the truth. And I said, you know what? I don't want to hear about this anymore. I'm done. And it's what's best. Sometimes, like she said, the truth is the hardest thing to face. The quicker that you learn to face it, you learn how to trust your ego and all that other crap to the side. And the quicker that you agree when someone tells you that you're wrong, the easier it is to learn. If you sat there and fought your teacher and saying 2 + 2 is 5, you're going to be fighting and kicking and beating that dead horse forever. And it ain't worth it. So, who the hell told you this?
So last thing I want to finish on today is kind of playing off of this whole, suck it up kind of aspect. That's what we're going to talk about all week. Just sucking it up. So yesterday, it was funny because Tennille had messaged me and she was like, oh my God, you're killing it. Like, you're just like rising and like doing all this stuff. Cause I was like posting all about all the groups and all the things that I was going to create and all the training. And I go, funny you say that, because yesterday morning I had a legit mental breakdown. Like, oh my gosh. And I will tell you guys the story of why and how and what happened after it, because I was sitting morning, I went outside. I was already kind of just like, I woke up cranky, I guess. I was sitting outside and I was having my coffee and I opened up Instagram and I see Christina Delgado, 7-star diamond in her 4th business center. And I just was like, for some reason, I felt like it had anything to do with me, which it did not, but it hit me at that moment. And I just started crying because I was like, what am I not doing? Like, how is this girl achieving 4 business centers, 7-star diamond, 15-star diamond, and 2 of her other ones? Like, I was like, what? Like, I was getting very frustrated, one, that I didn't have a coach to go to. I was getting very frustrated. I was playing a victim and for a hot minute, right? Like, I was like, poor me. Poor me, I don't have a coach to go to guide me or to give me the guidance or to say, like, what's next? What do I do? And like, I just started like crying and I just was so frustrated. And then I sat there for a second and I was like, okay, what now? You're gonna sit and keep crying, or you're gonna go get your workout done and you're gonna sit at your computer all day and you're gonna work. And you're gonna do whatever you think would be the next step. And so I literally cried, right? Had my moment. Take my 15, take my 5 minutes, cried it out. Had my coffee, walked back inside, drank my pre-workout, hit Power Ignite, and I sat at this computer all day yesterday. I made lists. I'm making schedules. I am going to create videos. I did our whole September schedule. I did all my planning for the week. I set up appointments with different girls throughout the week to meet with them. And I was like, this is it. This is what I have to do. I don't know what the next level is. I don't have somebody telling me, but I'm smart enough to figure it out, right? Maybe I can't do what she did in 10 years, but if I don't freaking try, I'll never know, right? I'll never know. And so, and it's gonna feel that much sweeter when we do achieve it, you guys. Cause I'm gonna be like, like we did that. I did that, you know? No one sat there and gave me thousands of volume on my team, so I just instantly got all these bonus. No one set up trainings for me that I could just plug all my girls into. No, we did that on our own. We figured it out the hard way. And I think it's gonna feel so much sweeter. I'm gonna know that we earned it because we created those trainings. We created the content. We did the videos. And so have your pity party if you need it for a second. Try it out. And then put your leggings on, hit that workout and move on and get to work. Just get back to work.
Building your own house always feels better, and then you have no one else to complain to because you're the one that did all the work. But as long as you customize it, put in that good solid foundation, and you were the one that mixed the concrete, no one else to point the finger at. Even though sometimes I'm like, your upline sucks. I just wish that she could get the payoff that she's been working for, but she is, because like I said, I've seen her on here by herself and actually on another one by herself, but now she has all of you girls. But it's a solid foundation that you all are building that will never crumble. You want to know why? Because you mixed that mortar. You didn't let someone else that says, oh, I'm a professional concrete guy. I do this. And then you go into the house and you're like, what the happened here? This isn't right. This isn't right. But you girls are all adding into this amazing warrior women house that it's going to be able to withstand a Category 7 hurricane, earthquake, and the whole nine. So it's just almost, it's more satisfying.
It's cool. It's cool.
It's cool.
So I appreciate you guys. But I want to share that with you too, because if you think I don't freaking have times where I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to level up. I don't know what to do next. Trust me, I have those times. I take that moment, cry it out, watch my sappy movie, and then I get right back to work. That's what I do for you guys. That's all I know to do. And that's all I can tell you guys to do too. There may be a time where you go, I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to go to the next level. Take your second, and then yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because the moment I sat at my computer, yes, I did know exactly what I needed to do. I needed trainings. I needed videos. I needed updated content. I needed stuff to give my girls so they can give it to people to look at for challengers. Yes, I did know. I was just playing my pity party. Have it for a second and then move on. Okay? So you do know what's next. If, like what Gary said, you just take a step back and view your stuff and say, maybe it's not that great. How can I refine it? How can I make this better? How can I level up once again? Okay? So that's what we're going to end on this Monday, is leveling the F up in a positive way. Okay? Positive always has to be your underlining message. Spin it to win it however you can. Okay, this is your story. You tell it however you want. Okay. All right, ladies, I hope you have a fabulous Monday. I am off to do homeschooling week 2. Got my little schedule for our homeschooling. I'm feeling very on point lately. It feels very good. I hope you guys have a fabulous day. I will see you guys tomorrow. I may do another Gary Vee video tomorrow, but I also have some David Goggins I was thinking about introducing around here. I thought he might be good for mixing with, like, after last week with the, what was his name? The Rocco guy. And then like we can do Gary Vee. Like we're getting into kind of some of these tougher life coaches, but I think we're ready for it. So be ready. He's not somebody I would just wing on somebody, but I think we're working into, oh yeah, Jocko, that's his name. I said Rocco. Rocco's Modern Life, anybody? All right, ladies, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks for coming. I'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? Bye.